Now, one thing I've always done all my life is ride in all various weather. I try to ride as under almost every condition. One of the bad sides of doing that is in winter, especially. You get a lot of chips in the paint, or when they salt the roads, paint takes a beating. I've done videos on how to minimize that. But this video is going to be about how to fix paint chips. Everybody thinks they have a different way of doing it. This is the way I've done it in the past. I've got a lot of little chips and dents and dings on the motorcycles in my humble collection, and most people never even see them, never know they're there. And I've done some real high-tech ones for various friends that all these are out on the channel. If you have a chip in an antique bike or in one that you can't reasonably repaint the whole tank, you want to fix a chip in the paint in the fairing, this video is going to have some good, I think useful, very basic information. I do it all with what I call a storyboard.
We're going to try to do. This is what happens. A stone will come and hit this paint. The paint is layers and layers of primer, color, and clear. Oh, we ought to do that. And the stone chip is usually a stone will hit it, or whatever. You scratch it with your boot, with your nose, whatever. And so what happens is we need to fill this little gap with paint. Now the way to do that, we need to make a little mountaintop, because here's what is exactly going to happen. Let me just show this, what will happen. If we're not level, when we go to buff this out, you're always going to see the light shining off of this low spot. It's going to show as a moon crater. So we don't want to see that moon crater. So the trick that I use is this. Here's this little moon crater. Let's just make it like that. Is I take, and I always have the touch-up paint from whatever I've painted. There's always a little bit left over in the back. And you try to do, well, I just want to make this real simple. This is low penetrating thinner. You don't want to use high gloss thinner. You don't want to use anything that's going to go down in here and make this scar any worse than it is. You'd like this to just be, and I think this is about the ratio that would work the best, is 1/3 low penetrating thinner and 2/3 just roughly. Now a little touch-up brush, make a little bottle cap full of that mixture. You really need less than a spoonful once you have it. Again, this is basic information, but this is the secret to making it work. Now the secret is, the reason it doesn't work some of the time, you use high penetrating thinner, you use too much thinner, or you make this too wet, and then it softens up everything around it. So I would start, this is what I would do, is maybe day 1, day 2, day 3, and every time you go out to the garage, just take a little bit of paint. You want to build that up so it's, in essence, it's a little bit of a mountaintop. If you're dealing with some kind of an exotic color, that metallic green, the Camaro green that's on the Kawasaki, some of the reds or yellows, you're really not going to get the perfect blend. It's just not going to happen. So in that case, maybe you have to repaint the part. But I was going to demonstrate something that's relatively easy, doing a black part, which the mirrors on the bikes take the biggest beating of all. Now, once I've filled that in, and I've got a little bit of a mountaintop, what I'm going to do, and I'm going to show this in real life, I just want to show what I'm doing because it's easier to explain it this way. I'm going to take a perfectly flat, hard sanding block, some 2500 grit paper, this is a sanding block, and some 2500, and block sand this down to where this is flat as I can make it. Now I don't want to make it that I take all the paint off around that scar. I'd like to just make it as flat as possible. Then I can try using any number of compounds, polishes, to try to get the shine, the gloss back. Typically happens, and I'm just going to make, let's pretend this is the part, and there's a scar right here. This is where you have a scar. And this is what we're going to do in real life right after this little demo. We're going to try to do one of these. You may not get this to where it's absolutely perfect, but you'll get it to where it doesn't jump right out at you. And the first thing is by making the color match the surrounding colors, as opposed to a scratch that's usually white or gray. That tends to make it blend in too. But now we want to get the gloss. See, if the gloss is shiny here and then dull here, it's going to stand out like a lot more than if we got the gloss over the whole part. Now, if what happens in your repair is the old paint is glossy and wherever the scar is, it's dull, what it means is your paint is soft. You did one of two things. You put the paint on too fast, in too thick of layers, and it never hardened up. So because it never hardened up, all the polish in the world isn't going to make it shiny. It means you've got to let it dry a little bit longer. Perfect world, that little scar would be filled with paint. We'd have it block sanded flat, and then through any combination of hand buffing, hand polishing, any polish, we would get the gloss to match very close. Now, of course, the alternative is you take the part off, sand the part, or refinish the whole part. But this is just a touch-up to try to make the part 90% as good as it can be. Now, when winter comes and we're going to be doing other paint work, we'll pull that mirror off and repaint. But for right now, let me show how I did this little repair. Now, this is a chip, and I'm assuming we hit a stone or something there in the course of riding. What I've done with this exact little area, and since there was a chip, there was a little moon crater there, I took the touch-up paint, ordinary automotive paint, and every day just took a Q-tip and put a blob of paint there. And what happened now is I have what I hope is going to be that this paint is now higher than the paint around it. So I have a little mountaintop where there used to be a valley. Now, there's a couple of things when you do this. If you put the paint on in thin layers and let it dry, it'll harden up a lot faster than if you try to put it on like once an hour for a whole day. It'll ultimately be too soft to buff out and match the finish around it. So that's one consideration when you do this. Now the next step on this, and I don't know if I have enough paint on there yet, but if I don't, I'll just continue this on, is I want to take a sanding block and some 2500 sandpaper and try to make that mountaintop flat. So step one, I want to take some simple green. In fact, I may as well do the whole mirror. Now in the case of the worst of all worlds, if this really was unrepairable, I'd take the mirror off and just respray it. But it's always nice if you can do it without the labor-intensive part of taking a fairing off or a part or whatever. In this case, it's a small stone chip, but it's one of those things that's very annoying. It's annoying to me anyway. Now, I have 2500 grit paper, a hard sanding block, not a soft rubber block, because again, I want to flatten that out. And it's in the flattening part of this. Windex is a good material to do this with, and it takes time. This is not going to take 1 minute. Because 2500 grit paper is not going to sand that down super quick. And if we're still low, I'll have to build it up with a couple of more layers of paint. But I did this over the course of 2 or 3 days. Just came out every morning and put a little bit of paint in that chip just to build up a little mountain around it. You can't rush it. You can't use a heat gun. I have found anyway, you can't use a heat gun to speed the process along. Now, in the worst of all worlds, again, we could take the mirror off and respray the whole mirror, flatten this all out, and then reshoot the clear. But if I can get away with this, or at least make it a lot better than it was, which is the goal of all the time, make it as good as you possibly can. Now, what's going to happen, I have to look at this, and I see I may need one more coat on there. I don't know. Now, I'm always tempted to take rougher sandpaper because this gets, I guess everybody does the same thing. You start doing this and 20 minutes later you think I'm never going to get this flat, but it just takes time. Now you can tell a couple of ways. If you see little blobs, little like chewing gum on the sandpaper, you know the paint's not hard enough yet. And the paint will harden up relative to the temperature, the weather, the humidity. Black is an easy color to touch up. If this were red or yellow or green or something, maybe not so easy, but anyway, the point is, using that sanding block, this is going to take a little time. I want to sand that flat. Once that's all nice and flat, then it'll only buff out. Now what's going to happen is the paint that's soft is not going to buff as quick and easy as the paint that's already hard. Hard paint buffs easily. Soft paint, I may have to wait a week, let that harden up a little more before I put the final shine on it, final polish. Now a couple of things. Because this is a totally flat, relatively flat surface, I have to be real careful I don't go through the clear and down into the black urethane. If this were a rounded part, I'd probably do it with a soft rubber block, but I've got this all flat. Now it's a question of getting a little bit of any kind of polish or compound and trying to get that to blend in. Now it's not critical what polish, I just happen to have just a little bit of this left. It's 4C product 8021. It's a polish. Now the reason I want to use the 8021, it's a soft polish. A rough compound is going to take a lot of material off, and since we've sanded away some of the clear, really don't want to do that. So I'll just carefully just buff this out by hand. It'll take a few minutes. A lot of times you can't even see the part where you've leveled it off. The times that you can, well, you have to go back sometimes. Each repair is different. This will really, at some point in time, put a decent shine on it. I wouldn't want to use a machine. Any kind of a buffing machine would be a problem here because the paint, where that little mountain was, and hopefully now it's flatter or flat, what's going to happen is, the machine is going to attack that paint. It's a lot easier, a lot less risky to do it by hand. And since this is just a mirror, yeah, it's really a simple job. What happens is when you get a stone chip in the front of a fairing that takes 4 hours to take the fairing off, and you got to take the headlights and got to take the engine out of the bike, and then doing it this way is a real bargain. And a lot of times you can't get it totally perfect. But boy, you get it so good. And I've got a couple of spots I have, especially on black, I've got a couple of spots that I've touched up where stones have hit it, and you just can't avoid that. And what has happened over the years, where's that chip? Is it on the left side or the right side? I remember when we did Dale's RZ, the 350. And when I was all done and he picked up the bike and I saw it at the market, I was looking, I said I couldn't remember if it was the left side or the right side that we touched up. But this is time consuming, takes a little time, but as opposed to having to take this off, and these mirrors come right off, but if I had to take the fairing off this bike particularly, it's a labor intensive job. Now I wanted to do this in real time if possible, and to microfiber of course. It looks like, well, what's going to happen is it's a 90% better than it was repair. Now I can see from this repair, one of the things, this is going to have to dry another couple days and then I'll hit it with some flitz or some polish, but basically that's the basic way to fill in that little moon crater, and then from that point on you've got to wait, as we are going to have to do here, to put a final polish on this. But in the meantime it looks a whole lot better than it did. Now if you're new to our channel, we have a very, very eclectic channel. One of the new features we have now is some of the videos are grouped into groups that you can access all the videos for one category in one mouse click, and it should be very convenient and very handy. Just check out the feature on the main screen playlist. And thanks to everybody for supporting the channel. We appreciate your support, and it makes this channel possible with all the things we do, the painting, the wheels, the polishing. And please take a second or two and hit the like button.
Thanks everyone for watching.